Hello and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. I'll set up the chat if anybody's interested, which at this time of the morning, 5:41 a.m., I don't know if there would be, but some people are up and at 'em this time of the morning. We're looking at Hartley VSOP, a very unusual brandy from a rather remarkable company. And it's going to go up against Presidente. So we've got Presidente from Mexico getting through this bottle. And here we have the Hartley VSOP. Got a long way to go for this bottle. All right. Now, there's really no point in doing a blind taste challenge in this case because there would be no challenge involved. The Hartley VSOP is so unusual in its aroma, so distinctive in the aroma. Some may like it, some may not. But it would be no type of challenge, you see. So let's just break them open and just see which one is better. I'll just say, okay, this one's better, that one's better, whatever. Okay, so the next one I intend to do, the next challenge I intend to do, which could be this week or next week, not sure, but it's going to be, the plan is Presidente versus the Saint-Remy. The Saint-Remy from France. So we're going to have Mexico versus France. Today we have Mexico versus the United States / Italy, okay? Hartley, let me fix something real quick. Hartley was introduced in 1937, I believe it was. No, 34. Okay, good. And by Barton Brands, which was purchased by Sazerac about 8 years ago. Now, whether it was an Italian-produced brandy in 1934, I really don't know. I don't know what the portfolio was back then. I would like to, as a collector and researcher, I would like to get a hold of some old brochures from these companies to see what their lineup was back then, because even in those days, if you wrote a letter to the company, they would send you a free brochure showing all their lineup. That was certainly the case in the 90s. I remember back in the early 80s, I wrote letters to the United States Football League saying, congratulations on your new season, your new league. Could you send me any information about the league? And they sent me all kind of stuff. And then each team, I wrote a letter to each team because they sent me an address list. And then all those teams sent me posters, schedule cards, roster sheets, and I kept all that. I still have it. I wrote to each NFL team back in 1982-83 time period. Also the NFL itself. And then they sent me all kind of, it didn't cost anything, you know, except for the stamp. But they sent me all kind of posters, team lineup, you know, the current teams and divisions, rosters, little applications if you want to join, you know, join like the New Orleans Saints fans club, stuff like that, or New York Giants fan club, mailing lists. So I would like to get some old brochures for these companies to see what was available then. So we know Hartley's from back then. The Presidente, I don't know when that came out. Can't find anything. The company, Pernod Ricard, doesn't even reference this product, okay? It exists, but they don't do anything. I guess they figure the sales, I don't know what, I could say, well, the sales are good enough, they don't need to promote it. But it really doesn't make sense why they wouldn't just list it as a product. Very weird. Anyway, and they're not the only company that does that irritating practice of like not acknowledging their products. Of course, after you smell it and taste it, you can kind of get the idea of maybe why they're not, because it's really not that good. It's okay. Now, the appearance here it's dark outside, and it's going to stay kind of dark because it's overcast and it's going to be rainy all day. We've got a very rainy summer, cloudy summer, but not a particularly hot summer in most cases. Of course, humid. They're both, well, the Hartley, I think, is a lot lighter. It's gold. This is more amber. Okay, now, yeah, so that Hartley is a light. They say they add natural colors. Man, if they didn't add any coloring to it, what would it be, clear? I don't know. As a VSOP, legally, it has to be aged a number of years. I believe it's, let's see, 2 years. Let me recall, 2 years. It's not a law, I don't think. It's more like a association standard, but I believe it's 2 years for VS, 4 years for VSOP, and 6 years for XO. And that's supposed to change in 2018. Going to up the aging. So there's no age statement on that bottle because it's at least 4 years. It's Italian brandy brought to the United States and perhaps blended with American brandy and treated with coloring and flavoring at the Bardstown facility, Barton Brands facility, Sazerac company, okay? And then there's a whole array of flavored brandies, which I've never tried, and I'm good with that. I don't really need to try those. But like they say on the website, it has this buttered rum cake aroma. It is a strange aroma. Now, if you let it breathe, it sort of dissipates, and it's a very small amounts, as you can see. But you get that buttered rum cake, and then it dissipates into just straight alcohol. It's 80 proof. Dried, and this is a commonality with brandy, so if it sounds like I'm repeating myself, it's because you're going to get the same descriptors often. Same with beer. One guy said he gave up beer reviewing because he got tired of saying bready all the time. Bready, bready. Well, it's going to be bready. You know, it's made out of grains from which you can make bread. Okay, so there was going to be sense to that. And you watch some of these beer reviews, and it's almost like they're making up things. There's no way it could taste and smell like those 35 different aromas and 52 different flavors. I just think it's just an attempt to look like an expert or something. I don't know. But there's that underlying butter cake thing, rum cake. Strange. Now this Presidente, I'm glad I let it breathe, because when you first bring it out the bottle into the glass, the aroma is of funky monkey unpleasantness. It's hard to describe. You'd have to buy a bottle, and you can get one for $14 for the regular size. Probably get one for $7 for the half size bottle, the 375 milliliter. So now after it breathes, it's just smelling like standard VS 3-star brandy, right? I've had people watch these and never had brandy before, and they're like, I don't know if I want to try it. Just think, it's like grape whiskey, okay? Just think of what grape whiskey would taste like, something like that. It's really not too exotic. Now, these two are kind of off-the-wall brands, so they may be more exotic. If you want just a standard brandy that's not going to taste, it's going to taste like what would be considered brandy. Oh, you could get E&J VS, or Paul Masson VS, or Christian Brothers VS. Those are your three main brands in the United States, your three top brandy brands. And you can start at the VS level because that's your standard introductory level, sort of like what automobiles, the SE, the standard edition model, the SE. And then you can work up from there, but it's probably best to start at the VS level. You have a good benchmark to from which to extrapolate the flavors as you go up the ladder, or make an analytical review of the brands. So a little fruitiness here. It's not bad. I mean, I think that was the problem in the past with this Presidente. I just poured it right in the glass, started smelling it. But hey, I mean, that's part. I poured E&J VS, Christian Brothers VS, and Paul Masson VS, and it didn't have a funky monkey smell when I poured them right in the glass. It was nothing like, whoa, what is this? No, they smelled fine from the first second, literally. This had to set. This one is still presenting that buttered rum cake. It's still a lingering thing. It did dissipate to an extent, but it's still lingering. Now, which one is a better aroma? Huh. Better aroma, better aroma. Well, I know which one is a better price. The Presidente, I never see that on sale. So that's, you're going to pay $13.99 plus tax pretty much. And I've checked other states. When I was in Kentucky, it was like the same price. Okay, so the Hartley, you pay $7.99 for a bottle. I was in Kentucky, $7.99. So it's a standard price. Now you can get them on sale, and that's where that kicks in, because I oftentimes use grocery stores like Winn-Dixie, or maybe liquor stores, because like in Kentucky they don't have liquor at grocery stores, but they do in Louisiana. They'll have sales. It'll be $6.99 now. I mean, $6.99 for a bottle of a full-size bottle of liquor now. But then you got to examine, what are you getting? It's not too bad. When I had the original Hartley VS, that was bad. That just smelled bad. Well, it smelled okay, but the taste was just all around unpleasant. It was a D product. It was bad. Wasn't undrinkable, but it was totally unenjoyable. I noticed now there's a Hartley Brandy. They just call it Hartley Brandy. No class designation. But I'm thinking what they did was they just, maybe the VS kind of got a bad name or bad rap, so they just called it Hartley Brandy, and it's probably VS, because they don't have to put that class code. Like I say, that's just something the industry did to kind of give the grades, the age grades. They used to call it 3-star and all of this other stuff. The English, back around 1910, people in England drank a lot of brandy, so they gave it those class. VS, very smooth or very special. VSOP, very smooth old pale. XO, extra old. And then there's Napoleon, and then there's a champagne upgrade, which get a little more complicated. All right, taste. Okay. The Hartley, it's a little minty. It's mint and just some alcoholic, but it's kind of bland. It's just like mint and not a whole lot there. It's not bad. I know they have natural flavors added, whatever that is. It's just not much of anything. So maybe you wouldn't find it offensive. You might like the butter rum cake. You might like the kind of flat flavor, standard flavor. And then also you got to take into consideration, people are buying this to make highballs. Okay, they're doing mixed drinks. If you get on the government website, Tax and Trade Bureau website, they actually have highball, mixed drink, or what do they call it, cocktails. They use the term cocktail. Legal requirements for the recipes. Now, you say, you mean they have a standard for a Brandy Alexander? Yes. If you get on the government website, they have a little description of, this is how a Brandy Alexander should be made. Now, how they would enforce that, I could not tell you. Well, they got mixed drink police that show up undercover and say, aha, you added too many bitters to that. So there's a little pepper note too. It's odd. Everything about this thing is odd. It's like, why does it taste like pepper? And mint, peppermint, right? But they're separated. Doesn't taste like peppermint. And they had these weird, I don't know. Why did people buy it? Why did people buy it? Why did I buy it? Presidente. It's sweeter. Now this one has a mint flavor, like mint, like fresh cut mint, right? Mint out of a garden. But it also has some pepper in. Now remember, it's only 70 proof, so it's an unusually low alcohol by volume brandy. 70 proof is odd, but that's what it is. #1 brandy in Mexico, actually #1 liquor in Mexico. Bigger selling than tequila, rum, whiskey. You said, can't believe it. It must be really cheap. That could be a big part of it. And it might be a cultural thing. It's just people grew up drinking it and their parents drink it and their grandfather drank it, and 4 o'clock in the evening or 6:30 in the evening on the porch in the backyard, mixed with Coke. I mean, you mix this with Coca-Cola, and the good Mexican Coke, right? The one with the sugar, not the corn syrup. It's probably going to be fine. So who wins the taste challenge here? Like I said, there was no challenge to differentiate. They're two different. I don't think you could ever get them confused. Because the aroma would tip it off. You got to do the aroma, right? So that's going to tip it off. The taste, they're not as different in the flavor. They are different. Which one's better? I would call it a tie. It's just, they're about the same. They're not, either one is not really that good. I wouldn't buy them again to actually enjoy. I mean, I bought them for reviews, right? You do these reviews and you go through all these brands. You never get back to the one you started with because there's literally thousands of brands. You could do a brandy, let's just say brandy, right? A brandy every day forever. You would just, that's all you would do. Couldn't run out. I mean, you would theoretically, I mean, you would because you couldn't buy everything, but theoretically, if you could access all the brandy varieties, just the one sold in the United States, you'd be a very old person before you would finish. We know the case with beer. That's impossible. You'd never run out of that. Just in your local area. Around here, I could never run out. Just shopping in this one parish, I wouldn't even have to go into New Orleans. I could not run out. It would not happen. And I would have to do a video every day, 7 days a week, every week of the year. I would have to do that. But I'm not going to do it because that's ridiculous and it's not important to do it. There would be no point to do it. But the point is, I wouldn't buy these two if I just decided to stop doing reviews just to enjoy something. They would not be on the list. There's no way. They are inferior to, well, okay, so who wins this challenge if they're a tie? They're both kind of like not too enjoyable. Obviously, the Hartley, it's $6.99 a bottle on sale versus $13.99. What are you going to do? Pay twice as much for comparable quality? You might. I won't. I'm not going to pay $23.99 for Jack Daniels or $22.99 for Jack Daniels, or maybe on sale $21.99 for Jack Daniels. I do see that on sale occasionally, not often, but occasionally. When I can go right there and get Old Crow for $10.99, okay, and it's the same ABV, 80 proof, and they're comparable quality. They both have good flavors. Now, I'm not now. Bill McIntosh said he didn't find Old Crow was quality. He wouldn't buy it again, but I would, especially when I'm paying half the price. Okay. I don't see that Jack Daniels. It might be marginally better, but it's not twice as much better. There's no way. It's just name recognition. And I'm not slagging on that brand. If they got the name recognition and people are scooping it up left and right, that's better, more power to them. But I'm not paying twice as much for something that's marginally better. I don't think so. But Would I buy Progresso soup over Campbell's? Yeah, because I think it's a fairly good deal better. And the price isn't too much more. Okay, so those things count. Price counts. It may not count to you. You might be very wealthy and that price may be no consideration. But in most people's case, it is, and it should be. So, are there cheaper brandies than Hartley? Actually, I can't think of any. They may be, but they're not sold around here. Now, when I went to Kentucky, there was so many flavored brandies. They had Mr. Boston blackberry flavored, and so that's like some kind of big deal, I guess. I'm totally detached from that world of liqueurs and flavored brandies. Okay, that's apparently a big world, and there was a whole section in the liquor store at Red Dot Liquors, a whole section, and I just was looking through here of flavored brandy. They're all about 70 proof, you know, because they add the flavor in the juice or whatever, and it drops it to 70. Yes, Mathern's does have flavored brandies. Bowls, the Dutch thing, I believe it's Dutch flavored brandy. I've never tried them, and I don't know if I ever will. The chances are not good that I ever will do that. But I'm just bringing it up. That's a whole different world, and they're not so cheap. Now the Mr. Boston was, yeah, about $6.99, $7.99 for that. But I've seen some people on Facebook. I don't know these people, but they were like on somebody else's page drinking it. Yeah, I'm drinking, and they had some odd brand I never heard of, flavored blackberry flavored brandy. I said, well, okay, so this is a thing. It's a cultural thing, and that goes back decades. So I don't know, but anyway, let's get back to this. So anyway, this is a clear-cut tie in flavor, tie in quality, really, honestly, virtual tie, but no sort of contest as far as value. The Hartley brandy would get bought 100 out of 100 chances. Okay, there would never be a contest. I would always buy this. I mean, I wouldn't buy this, actually. I wouldn't buy this product myself. But if I was really looking to save money, actually, I might buy it. Because if I had some kind of party or event, and I have certain people in my family and friends that I know would drink this because they have no discernment or interest in quality, their only interest is in alcoholic delivery, I would maybe buy this because they would drink it and they wouldn't care. They're going to mix it. So yeah, in that sense. But for myself, no, I wouldn't. But then on the other hand, I wouldn't buy the Presidente, and so it's half the price. The Hartley is half the price of the Presidente, so it's a clear winner in the value brand. Well, like I say, Presidente is not a value brand; it's a premium brand. Just doesn't have a premium taste, in my opinion. All right, so we had a few viewers. Thanks for watching. Can't recommend it, but I'd be curious to see what you'd say if you ever tried them. Give me some feedback. That's really the only reason I do these things, is just to get feedback. Most people in my immediate family and friends, they're not interested in this stuff. Talking about beer, talking about wine, liquor, they don't care. I mean, they drink it, but they don't care about talking about it. You know what I mean? It's like cars. They drive them. They don't want to talk about them. My father, he likes talking about cars, different models and all that. So it's more of a hobby in that case. But oh well, that's the end. So get ready for the next one coming up at some future point. Probably a very soon future point, like maybe in 2 days. Presidente versus Saint-Remy from France. And I think that'll be just a catastrophic defeat for Presidente. That's my prediction. That's going to be a blind taste test, too. I think Presidente will have no chance. It'll be embarrassingly one-sided. And those two items cost the same price, about $14 a bottle. So that'll be very interesting, and in my opinion. So thank you for watching this video production.